Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're basically putting on our forensic business strategist hats to do a deep, completely unvarnished autopsy on the tech industry's massive macroeconomic shift. We're going to cut right through all the utopian PR spin and look at the harsh, honestly brutal reality of how capital and talent are being rapidly reallocated across the sector right now. Because, let me be clear, this isn't a cute story about chatbots writing poems anymore. We are watching the most aggressive restructuring of wealth, physical infrastructure, and human labor that we've seen in decades.
So we've got a lot of ground to cover. We're going to hit the private equity land grab, Meta's brutal reorganization, the huge pivot to agentic AI, and finally, Elon Musk's crushing legal defeat. Let's just jump right in.
All right, part one, the macro capital level. Because to really understand the software, you absolutely have to start with the massive influx of money pouring into the physical foundation, the concrete and steel.
$5 billion. Blackstone is just dropping $5 billion in equity capital into a massive US-based AI cloud joint venture. And look, when the world's largest alternative asset manager writes a check that big for a single project, it proves AI has officially graduated from a Silicon Valley software experiment. It is now a heavy industry infrastructure play. Private equity firms, they don't fund science projects. They fund utilities. They fund real estate. This is a massive tectonic shift in how Wall Street values artificial intelligence.
The actual mechanics of this deal are fascinating. You've got private equity footing the bill for the physical stuff, the data centers, the land, the raw power generation, and taking a majority stake. Then, on the flip side, Google brings their custom tensor processing units, their TPUs, along with their top-tier executive leadership. By avoiding NVIDIA hardware entirely and relying on Google Silicon, this joint venture is basically attempting to control the entire vertical stack, literally from the cement in the ground all the way to the chips processing the data.
Here's the absolute kicker, though. They plan to bring 500 megawatts of compute capacity online by 2027. 500 megawatts. To put that abstract number into perspective, that is enough juice to power hundreds of thousands of residential homes. The main bottleneck for AI isn't just clever math anymore. It's getting access to the electrical grid. This is a cutthroat physical land grab on a macroeconomic scale. And the winners are strictly going to be the ones who can secure the most raw electricity.
Okay. Moving on to part two, and this is where things get kinda grim. Let's pan down from that massive capital level, because this unprecedented hardware spending spree, it's actively being paid for by the ruthless flattening of human labor.
You've probably heard the utopian PR spin coming out of recent tech conferences. Like at Google I/O, you had DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis out there claiming AI is going to miraculously solve mass unemployment. His logic? If AI makes workers more productive, companies will just try to accomplish way more tasks, which means they'll hire more humans, not fewer. It's a really comforting story, right? Designed to make regulators and the public feel warm and fuzzy about AI being a pure job creator.
Well, reality check. The cynical juxtaposition here is wild. While Hassabis is selling that job creation narrative to the press, Meta is simultaneously purging about 10% of its entire workforce. That is 8,000 actual real people losing their jobs, plus they completely canceled another 6,000 open roles. They aren't expanding. This is an aggressive, highly calculated AI efficiency push. They are taking those productivity gains and using them to ruthlessly reduce headcount.
And operationally, the way Meta did this is just surgical. Internal memos show that just 2 days before they fired those 8,000 people, they forcibly reassigned 7,000 of the survivors into 4 brand new groups solely dedicated to building AI tools. It is a brutal wartime reallocation of human talent. You are either working directly on the AI frontier or you're viewed as a cost center being optimized right out of the building.
And here's where it gets truly dystopian. Meta's HR head, Janelle Gale, said these new divisions are going to operate on what she literally called AI native design structures, which is brilliant, terrifying corporate code for completely gutting middle management. They are explicitly designing these units to have deliberately fewer managers per employee, fully expecting autonomous AI to pick up the administrative slack. Human oversight is literally being engineered out of the business model.
When tech giants are firing thousands of people just to reorganize around artificial intelligence, it proves that deploying AI requires serious management infrastructure. We want to thank our sponsor, Aria, for making today's briefing possible. Aria provides the enterprise-grade AI management platform that organizations need to turn raw AI potential into measurable, secure workflow automation. You can find their link in the show notes.
So, Section 3. We really have to ask, why is this violent realignment of money and talent happening right this very second? Why not a year from now? And the answer lies entirely in what the technology can suddenly do. The whole industry is hard pivoting away from those basic conversational chatbots we're all used to and shifting straight into agent-centric coding. This means AI that acts completely autonomously as an independent agent. It can plan, it can iterate, and it executes multi-step tasks without a human holding its hand. Case in point, Google dropped Gemini 3.5 Flash. During internal testing, it didn't just write a helpful little Python script. It autonomously built an entire proprietary operating system from scratch.
Google is going all in on this autonomous paradigm. They just released Anti-Gravity 2.0 with a new SDK so enterprise developers can string these autonomous agents together to basically replace entire human departments. And the scale of this? Google's CEO revealed they are now processing a staggering 3.2 quadrillion tokens a month. That's an exponential leap from the 480 trillion they were doing just last year. That jump reflects the sheer computational weight of agents constantly running continuous tasks in the background.
And the foundational talent knows exactly what this means. Take Andrej Karpathy, OpenAI co-founder and an absolute legend in AI research. He just officially defected from his own education startup to join rival Anthropic. Why on earth would he ditch his own venture? In his own words, he was blown away by the progress of agentic AI for coding. The smartest people in the room aren't waiting around. They are migrating straight to the frontier of autonomous agents because they see the real paradigm shift happening.
All right, finally, Section 4. Let's talk about the absolute death of the old guard and the total unrestrained victory of these new corporate monoliths over early AI idealism.
Elon Musk basically tried to use the federal courts to claw back up to $134 billion in what he claimed were ill-gotten gains. His grand plan was to forcefully unwind OpenAI's 2025 restructuring, oust Sam Altman, and force the company back to its original open-source nonprofit roots. This was the ultimate showdown, right? The old ethos of AI safety versus the new reality of hyper-capitalized, closed-source corporate dominance. But the sheer scale of Musk's humiliation here is just staggering. After a grueling, highly publicized 3-week federal trial in Oakland, the jury rejected his entire lawsuit in less than 2 hours. Let that sink in for a second. Under 2 hours to dismiss a $134 billion claim. The judge even told Musk's lead counsel she'd throw out an appeal on the spot. This wasn't just a minor legal setback. It was an absolute obliteration of the old guard's attempt to use the legal system as a speed bump.
So, as billions in heavy capital flow in and thousands of human jobs flow out, I want to leave you with this final thought to really ponder. The guardrails are officially gone. The tech is advancing autonomously, private equity is buying up the power grid, and the courts just gave a massive green light. What on earth are these monolithic, agentic AI companies going to do next, now that the old guard has been sidelined and their biggest existential legal threat was, quite literally, laughed out of court? Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and we will catch you in the next briefing.